everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Girlish. My name is Gage, and I'm here with my co host, Olivia.
Hey everyone, it's me.
So, we are back today to tackle a new identity. I think we both really just want to welcome this new group of people into our community with open arms. So, we're just going to be talking about the super straight community. I know they've been getting a lot of backlash lately, but we really just want to come on here and really just unpack everything that they are and just really educate people on the importance of being a super straight individual.
Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that we can spread awareness and make sure that they get the rights that they deserve. The
Absolutely.
fucking Goku head ass is super straight. I'm so annoyed. This is so annoying. I feel like every week there's something that just gets brought up that I'm like, why? And of course it started on TikTok, this whole super straight movement, and we'll definitely get more into it. But yeah, essentially it's just this like whole movement that stemmed out of transphobia, and we want to talk about it and express our opinions on the super straight movement, the great movement created by the one and only J.K. Rowling. We love you,
She we
but
were
not
talking
really.
before this, and she definitely created this. Like, she was looking at TikTok and she was like, I need to find a white boy to really just play this off on. And I know she communicated everything with him, and this is her doing. I just
Yeah,
know it.
for sure. This is all a conspiracy, and literally, yeah, it's J.K. Rowling. She created this,
Of course.
just to get back at Girlish, only us,
She's listening. She's
because.
been listening to us.
So that this specifically, this whole trend is because of us.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're excited to talk about that. We are back. It's been a few weeks. Uh, there's a reason why. I won't get too in depth into it, other than I got into a car accident, and it hasn't been the best time for Emily and I. It's been a pretty shitty few weeks, shitty month, and because of it, I've had to like reschedule a lot of things. And one thing is surgery, which has been frustrating. It was supposed to be April 6th, and now it's an open ended sort of surgery date and time. So whenever I'm starting to feel better and things kind of get back to normal for me, I'm going to talk. The surgeon and I are kind of talking or in communications of like when we can reschedule it. So it's been a weird time, and so we've had to postpone some of these episodes to make sure that obviously we're taking the time that we need to make sure everything is okay. We're figuring a lot of stuff out legally, and a bunch of other, yeah, it's just been a whole mess of like trying to figure out insurance and all of these other things. So we've been going through it, but we're alive, and that's all that matters, that we're both still here, and hopefully things get better from here on out. But yeah, how have you been? What's been going on? I know it's been like a long time since we sat together and just been able to record an episode.
Yeah, it's been good. There hasn't really been much going on. I did, or I am, like, in the process of trying to get a new job, or not like a new job, but like a new position in my company. So it's basically like a step above me. I'm applying. There's only one position available, and there's 18 other people also applying for the same
Um,
position. So it's really like competitive, and I've only been with my company for a year. So like, I don't know. I know people that have been there for like 9 years, 5 years, and stuff. So it's kind of stressful. But in my personal opinion, I killed that interview. I killed both of my interviews. So I have positive thoughts. I think it's a possibility, but you never know. Like, I thought I killed my circle interviews and they didn't fucking pick me. Um, oh, also, I can't wait to hate watch The Circle. It's starting in
oh
like a few
yeah,
weeks.
their season 2 is coming out,
If I see a character
and
that has my storyline, I'm gonna have a mental breakdown.
I'm wondering why. Yeah, I'm wondering, like, because I feel like you're the perfect candidate to kind of fit in
I
the
am.
circle. It just doesn't make sense. And so the season 2 came out. The trailer, you shared it with me, and honestly, I reported it for
I
transphobia.
did too.
But that's such a shame. But I'm really happy and excited that you're able to like apply that position. It's wild that it feels like yesterday you were like texting me pictures outside of your office being like, "There's a fire outside of my office," and it was like
Oh
one of the
my
first weeks
god.
you're like working
Yeah.
there, and
That's
so
so
it
crazy.
is.
That was, like, more than a year ago at this point. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what year or day it is anymore.
Yeah, 2020 was crazy, and it's still been pretty crazy this year. But I'm wishing you luck. Good luck with
Thank
everything.
you.
Yeah, I'm sure you always tell me how great you are and great you do,
I'm
so I
very
know you'll get it.
humble. I know.
Yeah, you have all of Girlish supporting you and backing you. And if they don't, then you can just make it a claim to HR that they're being transphobic.
I think so. I can
Just be
also
like,
say they're being sexist if they pick a man.
it's like they called me a tranny and told me, "How could you ever think you'd get this job?" Yeah,
Everything
that's.
is transphobia. If I don't get it, that's my first line of defense. I'm just kidding.
Are you guys in talks of like getting going back to the office? Are you staying remote? How are
Kind of.
things?
I mean, they talk about it, not like a full return, like maybe like half the office goes back like certain days and then the other half goes back, but that's not until like August. And they're also thinking
Okay.
like if people have done well at home, then maybe they can stay at home.
Are
So,
you enjoying like being remote?
yes and no. I
Hmm.
mean, I kind of miss like having coworkers, but at the same time I like being at home and like working with my cats and eating whenever I want. Like I can take breaks whenever I want because no one's watching me. So that's fun. But I do like miss kind of going to work.
Yeah, I'm having it with my job too, where by summer B, because I work in a university, we're all need to be back full time. And so I'm like freaking out almost because like a year has like happened. It's been a whole year. And I feel like as a person, I'm completely different like now than I was a year ago. And so for them to like, it almost feels like within an instant, it's like everything, we're all back, everything's going to be back to normal. And it's like, well, a year has passed, like we've all become different people. We're all like this is going to be a really big change. Like it's not going to be so easy for some people to be able to just get back into the swing of things. So I'm a little nervous because like I've created a whole setup at my home. Like I have my whole office space that I've worked so much time on, and I finally become so comfortable being here. And it is really nice to just be with my animals and
Yeah.
everything. And so the idea of going back has been like really like traumatizing me because I'm like, I don't wanna. And if it does, it feels like a summer vacation is ending, but not really because like I have been working hard at my job and it wasn't like a vacation, but it does feel like I'm being stripped away from something that I love. And I think quarantine has made me realize how like precious like time is, I guess. Being able to be home and like not kind of suffocated by like a 9 to 5. uh Jordan just ran behind you.
Sure.
But like has been like, yeah, so like doing a 9 to 5 just doesn't seem like something that's like meant for me, and I'm kind of starting to realize like that. So I
Yeah.
don't know what that means,
That's kind of
but
how I feel too. Like I still technically have one, but something about working from home makes me feel like I'm more independent, I guess. And
yeah.
that like it I feel like it just works better for me. Like I don't want to have to sit at a desk and have my manager looking over me and telling me what to do all day. Like I'm doing great being at home and like making my own schedule and doing everything on myself by myself. So I get that. I feel like that
Yeah.
too.
There's like yeah, it just feels like there's no point to be like micromanaged and stuff like that. And I was like having this discussion with Emily. She's like going back to work full time starting next week, but like she's stuck in like a cubicle, can't talk with any of the coworkers, has to wear a mask all day. And at what point is it like worth it
Like
to
what's
go
the point of
back?
that? Yeah.
It's just that they want to appear as like this beautiful, perfect like space, like office space with all these like workers, but it's like you don't know what you're putting your workers through to just kind of make sure everything goes back to the way it used to be because things aren't gonna be the way they used to be.
Hmm.
um it is wild how, and like we can go in like really deep talks about this, but how like it does feel like we were so used to like this 9 to 5 idea, and how we really were just like constrained by like capitalism and that flow. And yeah, And I can go on this
Oh
huge
my
like
God, me
tangent
too. I
and
just
rant.
got like a bunch of thoughts. I was like, I can talk about this.
Yeah, so I mean it does like it is wild that how much I've learned about like wow, like we really are just a product of our system and when we finally I don't know. I was reading something about like COVID and how like time and I think I've talked about this on the podcast, how time is just different and it feels different um, because we aren't in this like constraint of like of our time and working from home if I want to I can get up, I can go on a walk, I can be in my neighborhood, be like isolated, be by myself, do whatever I want to do, and it's been really really nice, so I'm really nervous about going back, but it's interesting. I just recently got my vaccine, my first dose of the Pfizer vaccine, because I work on a college campus. I was able to, I qualified for getting one. So I swooped in there and I went and got the first dose. And my arm has been out of commission for like the past like 3 days. So it's really crazy. It's finally starting to be able to like move again, but like really like it hurts to touch. And I know a lot of people have different side effects. Luckily, I wasn't sick or anything. It was just really sore. So
I have
if you can,
heard, especially because my mom got Pfizer and Russell also got Pfizer. And the second dose, I don't want to like jinx you or anything, but they both were like not okay for a while. So like,
everyone, even the person that administered it, it was like, yeah, this is your first dose. You'll probably be okay, but your second dose, that's
yeah,
when you'll probably start feeling some stuff. So I am nervous about that. Oh
I
man,
want
and then
mine. I'm
yeah.
waiting patiently.
Oh, and I'm sure in California it's gonna be hell.
I think because I my job is like finances and I don't qualify. I think it's only like over the age of 65 healthcare workers and food and agriculture that are able to get it now. And then on like April 15th, I think everybody over the age of 16 will qualify. But that's like literally the rest of the state. So it's going to be a while probably until I can get it just because of scheduling and everything. But yeah, I do want it. It would just make me
Yeah.
feel better about things.
It's like, yeah, I think it's really important to. So if you guys are thinking or considering getting the vaccine, please do it. You're not going to turn into a zombie. You're not going to get sick sometimes down the way and I know I understand people's fears like this like vaccine was created like within a year and it is scary, but it's just like the price we have to pay for like the herd immunity. So please get it so we can just like, have a safe future and everyone can stop dying. I
Yeah.
have it's funny because I hear so many old people with that conspiracy theory of like, oh, this is like gonna give us all these diseases. And I'm like, you're almost on your way
You're
out
going to
anyway.
die,
Shut
sir.
the fuck up. Like, and it's just oh, that makes me so mad. There's all these like people with their whole like they're microchipping us. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, in your fucking grave.
Being microchipped is a small price to pay to save the world. And I want to go to concerts again. So if the government wants to track me, that's fine. I really don't care.
Exactly. And I think that's like a generational thing too. I have
Yeah.
no cares. Like if the gov I lit we have a phone in our pocket. Of course the government's tracing us already. Like they don't need to fucking microchip
Yeah.
us, but I just have no care of my privacy. Like do you want to look at my Google searches? I search up my cat water fountain. Like what's the best water fountain
I
for a
know.
cat? Like what's gonna what it doesn't I don't know.
Oh my God.
But
Let's say hi to our FBI agents and the cameras.
hi, watching us from our episode. But yeah, it's like I hate the conspiracy theories behind it and everything.
Agree.
It's been pretty annoying. Um, but I think other than that, uh, I'm not sure if there's any new updates, anything going on. Um,
I don't think so.
a new feature that we have that you'll probably start seeing in the future is we're gonna hopefully start recording this podcast. And so I'm hoping that we will be able to have a full episode on YouTube. We're doing some trials out to see how it works and everything like that. So if you want to, you can go to our YouTube channel and just look up Girlish Podcast and subscribe to us there. Um, I wanted to talk to you about this, although I don't know, I just want to know how you feel about it. Girlish Podcast, no more hyphen. What are your thoughts?
I'm into it.
Okay. I think we're gonna, because if you guys start seeing like girlish pop up without the hyphen or anything like that, I think we're just kind of like testing it out, like our website and everything. I just want to see how that plays into everything. Um, I want to talk about it. Can we talk about it? But okay, there was another podcast that with these like it was like okay, this is gonna be rude, and if you know who these people are, please like I mean, we're really small, so it doesn't matter. There's another podcast like run by like these like two white girls called the Girlish Podcast, and it was made after us. They don't exist anymore. I don't know what happened.
We killed
I
them. Just kidding.
the Instagram doesn't exist anymore. The Spotify doesn't exist anymore. But it was like they were called the Girlish Podcast, and it was like the epitome of like girl boss like aesthetic, and it was just a really interesting. I DM'd them and I was like, hey, like like we're the Girlish Podcast, like could you consider maybe, and I obviously I mean the name Girlish isn't so crazy, especially because like with like the popularization of like people saying or like those shows like what is it uh
Blackish.
like yeah, and then I think there's another one,
There
but
is, I think.
yeah, there's like a few of those. So I know that like a lot like that's kind of like a thing that like people have been saying. So it's not crazy, but it was interesting to like kind of like look at these like this account and like look at like these people and I'm like that's our name, and it was like fun to kind of like joke with us like they're stealing our brand when obviously they weren't, but it was it's funny. They don't exist anymore. I don't know what happened to them. I hope they're doing great. But I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we need to give them props because they really did choose a good name. They really did. They just
Genuinely really
they
did.
weren't the originals, and that's the issue that we had. So
Yeah.
I hope they're doing
So
great too. But it doesn't look like they
um
are. I'm just kidding.
so if you see any other girlish podcasts in the future, make sure they know we were the original and we're cutthroat here.
Everybody
The other one gone. You want to know why?
will
Yeah.
never know.
But yeah, so that's interesting. We're Emily and I are currently working in a lot of ways to hopefully promote the show and everything like that. So if you guys have any suggestions or if you have any friends that are trans and might be interested in this podcast, please send it their way. We definitely want to expand as much as possible, and just kind of grow to be hopefully something big one day. We love doing the show. We love what we talk about, and we think it could be important and help other people. So I know we do a lot of jokes and stuff, but genuinely, I do wish the girls that did Girlish, I hope they're doing well. And yeah, so if you guys want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, just look up Girlish Podcast. Well, we're there. So yeah, I guess from there we can go on to one of the topics that we have for today. Trans Day of Visibility is coming up. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about the day? Because it is a day that happens every year, sometime in March.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's March 31st every year,
Yeah,
but
I think it's the final day of March, and I like it. I think obviously it's good to have a day of visibility. I think visibility will help in any context for like any community. So that's it's always nice. I always see like a bunch of posts, like a lot of people post transition like before and afters. So it's like cute to go through all of those on those days and just like look at all the beautiful faces and people like living their life. So that's always fun. And like for me personally, it's kind of special because it's like around the time that I met my boyfriend, because like I like went viral like because of a Trans Day of Visibility post. So
you
yeah,
like blew up.
it blew the fuck up on Twitter. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Like every time that year comes around, like usually that picture I posted in like 2016 or 17, it like resurfaces randomly on Instagram. And then I get like a bunch of followers and they're like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like, "Girl, that was 4 years ago. Like I don't look like that anymore." So,
Yeah,
yeah,
you've grown.
I enjoy this time.
Oh, that was like pre-surgery too.
That was like, yeah, I was literally like 7 months on hormones.
Yeah,
My hair
that's
was like here.
insane. Oh, it was like right after you like graduated college, right?
It was like when I was still in college.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I took it in a
That's
parking
crazy.
lot before I went to class.
That's so cool though that
Yeah.
like it still resurfaces. Yeah, that like that time in like my life reminds me of uh so it was like the year that I started dating my significant other, or no, I think it was, yeah, I guess it was like a year after dating Emily. But whenever that time came around, I remember Emily specifically telling me, um, like, oh, like trans day visibility is today. And it was before I was out. So her just kind of telling me, like, oh, I'm not telling you to come out. I'm not telling you that you need to come out. But I just wanted to show you that, like, there are people that are visible and then you can feel safe because there are other people that there are other people out there, so you're not alone in this. So I really love the day. I think it's a good representation of like the whole, you're not alone. And I know sometimes beginning your transition or kind of coming out or breaking away from the things you're scared of is scary. And so just yeah, I think this is a good reminder that you aren't alone and when it comes to this, and that, you know, being trans is definitely, there's a whole community out there that wants to love and support you. So yeah, love the day. It always reminds me of that time of like before transitioning and just having a lot of hope and looking forward to the future. So it is really, really cool. You know what's so funny? That whenever your photo blew up, I posted one the same day. So mine was kind of, mine started blowing up because yours blew up. So there was like people retweeting some of mine. So I had like a few thousand, but it was just really funny because I remember like, oh my god, Gage is getting me so much clout.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my god, that was a crazy time. I
It
felt
was,
so like famous at that point. I thought I was
and it's,
everything.
and we were like newly friends that time too. It is like, well, it is wild that we met when I was like 19, or maybe I was 20 by then.
I
But
think I
yeah,
was
now I'm
21.
24.
So yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
god,
that's
we're
so
so
crazy.
old.
We are old. It
That's so
keeps,
scary.
I was watching like YouTubers recently, and they're like, "Oh, they're like in their 30s now." I'm like, "Oh, we met like whenever we were like 22," and I'm like, "Wow, they're so old. Like, that's a really long friendship." And I was like, "Oh my god,
That's
like I
us
have
in like 2
friends."
years.
I was like, "Yeah." So, but yeah, so it's really, really cool to have that, and yeah, I have like good feelings about trans day visibility. So
Yeah.
that'll be out, or that'll be in a few days, or like a few days after we post this. So happy Trans Day of Visibility.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to be yourself. If you need any support or love, we're always here.
Exactly. And I think you brought up something good as like prior to transitioning just because I know if you haven't transitioned or if you're not in a good position to do so, it's important to see like it's possible or what's possible for you and how many other people have gone through the same journey. So if you aren't out yet, I think it would just be good to just take inspiration from all the stories that people are sharing, and your time will come eventually. And when it does, hopefully you'll be able to be as happy as other people you see like that are actually already transitioning. So it's just like a timing thing. You just have to realize that right now might not be your time, but it's always possible. Like you'll see people of all ages come out and like show themselves and be visible on that day. So I think that's important too.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for the internet because um, without it, I don't think I'd be anywhere that I am today.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's like, it feels really lonely, but I mean, you can create it and develop a family online, and it being like a good support system. And I felt so supported just by like the people that like I communicated with every day that I met online, like with you, like I met you through YouTube and stuff like that. And so, yeah, with all the resources, learning about trans day visibility, seeing people online, so many people be themselves, it definitely is a good feeling knowing that, you know, there's hope. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's what it kind of comes down to, is that there is hope.
Hmm.
So happy Trans Day Visibility. And yeah, from the Girlish podcast.
Yeah. And, speaking of community, and visibility. I think now is the perfect time to just try and spread awareness about, like we were talking about earlier, our new brotherhood. Is it a brotherhood or a sisterhood? Or is it both? I think it's mostly a brotherhood because let's be honest, it's mostly men doing it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's
Um,
for sure like a men's rights movement type of thing, you know?
yeah, and you can tell by the flag that a man like thought of the flag. Let's
The
start
flag is
there.
so ugly.
Okay, yeah. So basically, they're not a new part of the community. If you couldn't catch on to my sarcasm already, but basically, yeah, it's the super straight community. First, I just want to talk about their flag. It's giving very much Halloween. It's just literally like half orange and half black. I don't know what the inspiration is, but basically, if you
Yeah.
haven't like heard about it, it's like this supposedly new identity that was created on TikTok. And actually, I'll just go ahead and read what the creator of the super straight movement said when he started it. He said, I created it because I was sick of being labeled with very negative terms for having a preference, something that I can't control, and getting labeled by the community that preaches acceptance with that sort of stuff. It was never meant to be hateful. And then he said, I know a lot of people have the same opinion as me, but are too scared to say it in fear of backlash and misrepresentations. So essentially, the super straight community was created because cis men, don't like to be called transphobic. That's basically the foundation of their movement. Do you have any initial thoughts? How do you feel?
Well, obviously, I like respect it. I think it's like the best thing. I think it needs to be added to the LGBTs community. S for super straight.
I
So
think we should just take out the T and just be LGBSF.
that's the one.
Mhm.
And or no, actually, just drop every
Actually,
LGBT
yeah.
gone, just SS, and then with the beautiful, beautiful orange and black flag. But no, obviously this is like a really shitty thing, and it's really shitty that so the super straight movement is a reactionary movement. It's a movement that someone made to that's like supposed to like it's reactive of like um current day like politics or whatever you want to call it. And it's essentially like the men's rights type of movement or like the all lives matter type of movement where it's created in order to like be it's like reaction out of something that they it's just annoying. So I definitely think that it's obviously a really like awful thing that's happening. It's crazy that it blew up on TikTok. I've seen countless things like homophobic, transphobic things blow up on TikTok. Um, and yeah, I have a lot of opinions and thoughts on it. The whole idea of being super straight, there's so many holes in it for me because a lot of people are like, I'm not transphobic, I'm super straight, or whatever they want to say. And so by saying super straight, I'm gonna go like really in detail with everything. By saying you're super straight, you're already implying that trans women, if this is by men, that trans women aren't real women. So by saying that, it's kind of like doing all of that. But also by saying that you won't date trans people, there's just like a lot of holes in that because it's like, what do you mean? Do you have like a genitalia preference? Because trans women have vaginas. There are trans women with vaginas. Do you have like what is it about trans people that you won't date them? What is that thing? And so that's where it kind of frustrates me at because if you're saying like if you're lumping all trans people to be a certain way in your head, then that's transphobic. And so this whole movement has been created around this idea that trans people are this one way that I pictured in my head, and I don't know what that may be. And just because of that, I'm not going to date them. They aren't real women, and that's how I feel. And so I think this is like a really, really shitty thing that really frustrates me. But I'm honestly not shocked by it. Like whenever you told me and like I was like seeing stuff by it, I really just at this point I don't feel anything anymore about these stories because I'm like, of course, obviously this is a thing. Obviously people are this awful and like problematic. And this person that's like talking about it, the person that invented it on TikTok, the creator of it, I mean, in the video, he hashtagged sexuality and then hashtagged funny. This was like a joke. This was a joke to them. And so for this whole thing to be happening, I'm like the only joke is him. Like he is the joke. And it's annoying that like how TikTok, it got picked up within the TikTok algorithm and then swept up within 4chan and then a bunch of shit like that. So then yeah, now it's this thing that we're talking about.
Yeah. And it does like piss me off just because it does imply that there's like a hierarchy in terms of being a straight man. Like if you're a straight man, you might date a trans person, but if you're super straight, then you're above a straight man. Like you're way more masculine than he is because you're not going to date a trans person. So it's like I don't know why a lot of the times like we go to these extremes, like people outside of the LGBT community. I know when like trans first started blowing up, like people were like, "Oh, you're trans? Well, I identify as a helicopter or like a tiger." Like people just like bring up like absurd ideas like that just because they like can't comprehend that it's possible to be assigned one gender at birth and then identify as something else. So like their brain is like not able to comprehend that that's possible. So they just come up with the most outrageous and extreme alternative and try and pass that off as essentially the same thing. And I think that's probably the most harmful thing about this whole ideal is because I mean, like you said, it was meant to be a joke, but like people are like actually taking it seriously. Like this is some sort of sexuality. And it also, again, perpetuates the idea that, you know, this is just something that we make up all the time. And it's like not something that people have severe anxiety in regards to, or it's something that people get kicked out of their homes or experience violence on a daily basis for. It's like, who is going to discriminate against you for being super straight other than the fact that it's stupid and like it was created basically to mock other people.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I don't. Uh, I don't like. There's this idea that like trans or that not being like attracted to like certain genitalia is considered like, oh, people are gonna judge me if I say that I don't want to like date a girl that has like a penis or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not the issue. Like you can be like, oh, I don't want to date someone if they have a penis. Like that's fine. Like, you have a preference, you have a genitalia preference, sure. Like that's chill. But the moment that you start lumping and stereotyping trans people in this box, the moment that you create the sexuality in order to like mock other people and do that, then you're creating a situation where you're harming another community because you you are creating something that I don't know, that is like that's just it's problematic and it's something that's really really harmful. It's something that's stemmed out of the it's aimed to hurt other people, to put other people down. Like you said, you're creating this hierarchy of what it means to be straight. So it's like if like a straight man does date a trans woman, then does that make them lesser if you're super straight? If you're fucking Dragon Ball Z straight? Like I don't understand. I hate that name too. What the fuck does that mean? They couldn't be
not
more
Dragon
clever.
Ball Z. I can't.
I just keep that's my head always keeps going back to that. Like you're not a fucking anime
They're
character. Like what are
evolving.
you talking? Oh my god, you reached your final form. Oh my god, with a tiny little penis too.
Oh
Oh
my
my god,
god.
fuck these men. And yeah, I mean it's all the same too. A lot of these like it's just so harmful, and so I get really mad when I see things like that, and I'm just like just so disappointed in all this because like why? What is the purpose other than to hurt?
That's the thing for me too. Like, I literally don't care if somebody says they wouldn't date a trans person. Like, if that's your preference, I genuinely don't care. So, and I feel like a lot of people probably feel the same way. It's just like you can't just go around calling people tranny and calling them a man and then blame the fact that people are calling you transphobic because you don't want to date a trans person. Like, no, you're being called transphobic because you're saying transphobic things. So it's like, I don't think people really understand what transphobic is. And I mean, you're not being oppressed by saying you don't want to date a trans person. Like they're acting like their jobs are on the line and their whole family is disowning them because somebody called them transphobic. Like do something about it. If somebody calls you transphobic, maybe you should like do some research. I don't fucking know. Like
And there's
it,
also like it's like annoying because there's also this like implication that there's so many trans people out there that you're gonna for some reason find like you're gonna be in a situation
I
where
know.
yeah, it's just so weird to me. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just like I feel like I don't know. I see it a lot in like cancel culture. Like a lot of the people that oppose cancel culture, I think it's stupid, are like men. And I feel like a lot of the times men just don't want to take accountability for things that they've done wrong. So like they blame other things for it or they try and figure out a way to get out of it. Like, "Oh, I said something 4 years ago. That was not me anymore." And it's like it's not wrong to like bring up things that you said that were harmful to another group of people because I mean eventually and at the end of the day you said it and you're responsible for explaining why you said it or how your views have changed in the meantime. So like I don't understand why people like get so offended when something in the past that was problematic gets brought up because like I mean you have to address it, especially if you're a big person and you have a big following, you need to address things that you said in the past. So I just think that people, I don't know, they do anything that they can to kind of avoid taking accountability for like hurting another group of people. And I mean, it's at the end of the day not really helping anybody because it makes them look worse. Like it doesn't make it look like you're trying at all to come to an understanding or like learn or grow as a person. It's just kind of like a smart ass remark or like you said, a reactionary movement, like in response to trans people calling you transphobic because you don't want to date them, or like you take like they're taking it the wrong way, I guess.
Yeah. And I want to keep reiterating too that like it makes me so mad because you can have a preference. Like that's fine. Like I don't think people are gonna get mad if you're like as a trans person, like I'm obviously in a relationship, but like as a trans person, and if there was a person that's like, I don't if there's a person that's even like thinking that, I obviously wouldn't want to be with them. So like it's not like if you don't want to be with a trans person, then just don't be with a trans person. Like that's something that if you have these like horrible feelings, keep to yourself, educate yourself, understand why people are talking about this or why this is a thing. You don't have to like be such a fucking asshole about it. And just these movements too. It's just it's like it just showcases how much transphobia there is out there. It's just like made to like oppress people. And so yeah, and it is just bothersome that like that there are these like a lot of times these like white men that I guess just men in general that create or like I don't know do stuff like this like put down trans people. um and it is like really 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 just like frustrating. um because like I know a lot of people that are like black trans women are killed because of rhetoric like this, because of things that are spread like this, like, oh, if I'm with a trans person that means I'm gay. And it's like, no, that's not what it means. That's like literally not what it means. And so yeah, I've seen this like trans girl on TikTok talk about how when she gets in relationships with guys, she has like surgery. She has bottom surgery. She has the vagina, and she lives in Germany. And when she hooks up with guys, she very rarely tells them that she's trans. And because she's like, what's the point? I'm a woman. That's how they view me. I have like the parts. They're not questioning it. What's the point of me even bringing that up? There's no point. And there's a lot of people attacking her saying like, that's really wrong. That's really dirty. Why would you do that? And it's like, because if you see someone as who they are, then the her life history isn't isn't your concern. Like when anytime you fuck anyone else, when do you ever care? If it's like a one night stand, when do you ever care what their whole life story is? Like it doesn't make sense. So people were attacking her, and it was like it was just really sad to see, because that's where this whole super straight movement has a lot of holes in. It's like if a person is trans, they're like if they're a trans woman, they fully look fully passable. Like you can't even question it. You can't even tell. They have like all the surgeries. Like how like you know what I mean? Like why can't you see yourself dating that person? Because in your head, you're lumping all trans people to be a certain way. You're lumping them all to be people who have penises, and you're viewing them all in this one way. And so that's why you say you never date them, is because you're stereotyping. And that's where I find it really, really harmful.
Yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if anybody that supposedly says they're super straight comes across a trans person who has fully transitioned, they've had surgery, they've done everything that they needed to do, and completely passes in society, I am almost 100% certain that they would try and hook up with her. Like, that's just how it is. So like that's another big hole in the whole argument. It's like, okay, you say you're super straight and you wouldn't never date a trans person, but chances are you probably would be attracted to a trans woman had you not know that she was trans. And like that, your whole argument just goes down the drain because of that, because you're saying you don't want to date one, but here you are attracted to one. And I feel like it's just frustrating because people are literally dying for being trans, and to create this whole movement as like part of an oppressed community when people are literally dying every single day, they're getting murdered or whatever the case may be. Like nobody is going to kill you for identifying as super straight. Like nothing bad is going to happen to you. So it's just annoying to like not only have that identity be created like to mock the trans community, but also to insinuate that like this is a sexuality and that you shouldn't be discriminated on against because of that sexuality, when literally nobody is going to discriminate against a straight person specifically for being straight. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Um, I'm just like looking at like these tweets of the people that are like supporting it, and it is really sad. And it's kind of like flown down now to like 4chan, which anything that ends up in 4chan just kind of is like really like grows a lot in white supremacy and neo-Nazism. And so you're starting to see now this whole movement that was created as a hashtag funny becoming something that's actually like people that are correlated or connected with like white supremacy movements and neo-Nazi movements. And it is really just disgusting to see people even going as far as saying that they're part of the LGBT community now, being super straight. And it is, I just don't get it. I don't get it. It's also funny thinking that people are like, yeah, we're part of the LGBT community and we want to as super straight people, but it's like, why? So are you gay? If you're part of the community,
Is
I
this
don't
your coming
understand.
out?
Are you coming out? Um, yeah. So it is like annoying that people are putting like the colored flag in their bio, saying that they're super straight, and it does get like frustrating to see that. It almost is like a mocking way because people are starting to put pronouns in their bios. So it's almost like a mocking way of like being like, oh, I'm super straight. Fuck putting like those pronouns in my bio and everything. And yeah, so this whole movement has been something that I've just been like really frustrated seeing. Um, I just can't believe that like J.K. Rowling will go out of her way to make this. Like it just seems like a really like how much time does she have? But but I wonder if she's. I feel like I haven't checked up on her in a little bit. She probably has some connection with this. She probably has. She has to. But yeah, this whole thing has just been. It just like it hurts me because I know that like I'm expecting stuff like this, so I'm more of like disappointed with the whole like atmosphere of like online. And I think a lot of it has to do with like politics, especially over the past 4 years, and kind of like the shit show our like government has been, and how like people have become so like extreme, have become so radical on the right. And it is like really, really scary to see. It feels like it's getting transphobia is getting worse and worse every day. when like throughout history, typically things get more progressive when it's really, it feels like it's not. So it's getting like into really scary territory.
The thing that is scary to me is that I feel like both of us have kind of said that we've expected this to happen. Like, it's such a shitty thing, but I was not surprised at all. And I feel like that's the norm nowadays for a lot of different political reasons, or not even just political, just like societal reasons. Like, you see somebody get shot, or you see somebody come out with like this outrageous new identity, and it's like not surprising anymore. And that's kind of scary, like for our society. Like, if you think of literally the worst things that could have happened, like people in your community are dying, there are innocent children and healthcare workers and whatever. People are literally dying every single day. And it's like you turn on the news and you're so desensitized to everything that's happening. And that's like the scariest part to me. It's that like we're kind of losing hope and like humans and humanity. It's just like every bad thing that happened at this point is expected. And like, it's just normal. I just got to go with the flow. Like, we'll get over this one tragedy and then another one's going to happen in 4 more days. It's just like that's what the last year has been. It's just been us getting over something that shouldn't have happened and then having it all happen again in the next few days.
And I think that's like I mean, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier, how like, I do love the internet and like what it's capable of doing, how it's capable of creating networks of people, and we're able to support each other as trans people. But on the other hand of that, there is that like downfall of it being used in a way to like emphasize hate, emphasize transphobia, racism, and things that are anti-Semitism, and things that are just like have become such a huge issue. Um, um, I mean, it's been a huge issue for forever. And so, yeah. And so just seeing this being fed into more and more and more, seeing how places like Facebook are being used as like breeding grounds for people like this. Now, TikTok has been like allowing a lot of stuff like this. I've seen trans people's videos get taken down or trans people getting kicked off of TikTok. But then at the same time, it's like white supremacy thrives there, and transphobia and homophobia thrives there. It's the same with like with YouTube and stuff like that. We just constantly see that happening. So it is really scary that that uh that this is so normal. This is so common, and we've just kind of expected at this point. And I mean, I wouldn't have felt this way like 4 years ago. I think like over time, I'm becoming more and more aware of the horrible, horrific things that we're seeing every day. That I've just kind of I have become just so desensitized with it all. So I'm just disappointed. Like I don't mean to be like that stern parent where like I'm disappointed, but I really am. And I just I wish that we could all just I wish that trans people could exist and it be okay. And that's where it's like getting really, really hard and annoying.
Yeah. And I feel like people, they always like go back to the notion that, oh, like, everybody's treated equal nowadays, like nobody's racist and like blah blah blah. And I feel like on paper that might be true. Like, yes, we can all vote and we can all do this and that. But like time and time again, it's obviously proven that it's not really about the rights that we have. It's about the ideologies that people are continuously perpetuating, like over and over and over again, that aren't dying. Like, yes, racism is dead, but a lot of the ideologies that people had and the viewpoints that they had towards people of color back then are still going. And the same thing goes with homophobia and transphobia. Like, even in some states, trans people are literally illegal. Like, there are things that they can't do, or they're banned from getting healthcare. So like, it's not this world that we live in where everybody's equal. And I think people need to realize that, because making a joke like this or trying to create a new identity is like discrediting all of the struggles that people go through. So I think most of it has to do with ignorance, and that's really the bottom line. I think a lot of people use the trans community as like a punchline, and I mean that's really what it is at the end of the day. I feel like trans people literally can't do anything.
Have you seen Lil Nas X video, newest
I
video,
have.
his music video?
Hmm.
And that's another thing too that's kind of come to. I fucking love it. I think this
I think
song's
it's
great.
okay. Can we just talk about the fact that he slid down a stripper pole from heaven down to hell? Like that is so iconic to me.
Oh, and then he fucking gave the devil a lap
Like
dance, just twerking on the devil.
his mind is just on another level.
And
Truly.
it's yeah, just genuinely like through and through, like such like a good character, a good person. And I absolutely love his TikToks. I love his tweets. I like follow him constantly. And I think like, I like he is such like a bright person that like I'm bright in the sense of like he like exudes like radiant, like he's radiant, and it makes me so happy to know that people like him like exist. And so when that music video came out and like the song came out and like he, him just talking about him coming out and being gay, you would think that there would be so much support. And I was really excited for this song to drop because he'd been teasing it for like a year at this point. And I was so excited for it to come out, and I thought everyone else was too. And there's been a lot of support, mainly support, but at the same time, there's been so much hate, and it just breaks my heart to see because I see him responding to a lot of people. I feel like trying to be funny, but then a lot of times I feel like I've been seeing him be more and more serious about these comments that he's been getting. But the newest music video, it does have 1.3 million likes. It beat the world record to get a million likes. For one video to get a million likes on YouTube. I think it beat the world record, if I'm not mistaken. But it has 82,000 dislikes, which it is really like gross to see. Like while there is all these people that love it, I mean you can see by the like dislike there are all those people that like hate it. And I like if you go to the comment section and do from newest, you'll start seeing people calling it disgusting or like he's going to hell and all these like awful things. And yeah, it just makes me mad that that that's another thing where it feels like we're kind of going backwards in a way where I don't know. I was expecting everyone to be so supportive and this being like the summer, like the song of the summer, and it being like really like supported, but like seeing all this, I'm sorry, I'm just like frustrated. I feel bad for him, but then like again, I'm just like, of course, like this is of course happening. Like I'm just so used to it. And so, yeah, it breaks my heart because he is like a genuine good person. He made a video that was fun.
He's so
And it was
sweet.
all the actors are him. And like, it was just a really cool, like, concept, really cool video, and really great song. And yeah, it's really just sad to see the amount of people that are just like saying shit about him and being like really disgusting.
Like what is he doing wrong, really? I mean, I get like the whole religious aspect. That's fine. Like, but other than that, I feel like actually for the most part, people aren't really concerned about the fact that he's has like heaven and hell in the video. I think it's more over the fact that he's on a stripper pole and like giving a lap dance. And I think it's like very telling of our society if like or the comments that I see most in regards to his video are like, my kids like your music. Like, what are they going to think? Like, you let your kids watch and listen to things that perpetuate literally the most harmful things in regards to masculinity and like femininity and how to treat women and blah, blah, blah. And like, you don't care about any of that. But the second you see a guy on a stripper pole, like, that's problematic to you. It's just like it tells a lot about our society of like what we want our kids to see, like what we'll tolerate and what we won't. It's like something as harmless as a man being on a stripper pole is horrible, but like they can listen to other genres of music or consume other forms of media that like perpetuate sexism and like misogyny and stuff like that, and that's perfectly fine. So that's what like bugs me the most about the video. But I think it's iconic and I think it's sad because he's such a sweet person. Like I mean, I don't know him obviously, but like he just seems like such a sweet person, and like everything that he does, like it has a message behind it and there's intention. And I don't think a lot of people really understand the intention or like what it would feel like to be a gay rapper in that industry. Like that's a lot. That's a lot to handle. And he's just expressing himself and his art and his creativity. And I think it should be celebrated that it's something different. If you don't like it or if you don't enjoy like the direction that he's going with his career, then just like don't listen to him. I think it's that easy.
Yeah. If you should follow him on Twitter and TikTok if you haven't. He's like so fucking funny. I love
Yeah,
it.
he is
But yeah,
hilarious.
the reason I bring that up was just because I wanted to emphasize the whole like where we stand as like a collective like LGBT community today, where like people there's so many people that just don't aren't supportive, and at this point we're all just existing. We're all just trying to like just be ourselves, be who we are. And there's that constant thing of like, you can go and be gay, just not around me or not in front of me and stuff like that. And it's just like this is like a common language, common themes that just center around like how we live like every day. And we come on here, we make a lot of these videos talking about a lot of these things that happen, a lot of these issues, a lot of really upsetting things. And the more we talk about it, yeah, the more frustrating it is. But there is like that ray of hope. There's that ray of like like light at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, the more trans people that come out, the more I know that there will be a path for hopefully one day full acceptance. And that's all I can like hope for and pray for, is that we are at a point one day where trans women of color can exist fully and be themselves fully without discrimination, hate, or violence towards them. So yeah, at the end of the day, I just kind of want to like preach that and preach that hopefully we're pushing for a future that is more inclusive, and fuck the super straights, fuck
Fuck,
them, and fuck J.K. Rowling.
fuck their ugly little jack o' lantern ass fucking flag. It's not cute.
Oh my god. So we should make like a parody of the flag. I'm gonna make the flag my Twitter DP,
Oh
my
my god.
Abby.
Me too. We should change our color scheme. Instead of like purple and like pink and blue, it should be orange and black.
Oh my god, that'd be so funny. I might actually make the cover art for this episode orange
Oh
and black.
no. Oh my god, that would be so funny, honestly.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. I'll figure it out. But
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I think really nobody's really taking them seriously. I really don't. I think it's
mhm.
probably something that's going to die down probably in the next few weeks or so. I mean, it's already kind of died down. So I just thought it would be funny for us to kind of talk about it and the fact that things like this are probably going to keep happening. I mean, there's probably going to be another identity popping up over the next few months in regards to some other different identity. Um, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I mean, obviously it was lighthearted as a whole, but there are important underlying issues that need to be discussed around like why as to why this happened in general. So I hope all of you or none of you actually ever encounter somebody in the super straight community. And if you do, I don't condone violence. I'm just kidding. Don't like beat anybody up. That would be like
Send them our way.
discrimination.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a
did you
hate
see what
crime.
happened to the other Girlish podcast?
Exactly. Like don't fuck with us.
But yeah, yeah, I mean, hopefully, like I said, we're kind of progressing to something that's more inclusive. It does suck to see something like this, but I think at the end of the day, just like I think it's important to talk about it, not to normalize it. Make sure that we take this type of stuff seriously. And like I said, it's kind of feeding into that like Nazism territory where it's like you have to be very, very serious about these types of things, because you don't want to normalize that. You don't want to normalize this behavior. You don't want to make sure that like things like this are okay for people to say, because then it from there it can become violent, and it has become violent for so many trans women of color.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good point for us to say our goodbyes until the next time. I hope everybody enjoyed. If you did, you can, like we were mentioning at the beginning, follow us on YouTube. We're actually filming with cameras right now. So, like,
Mhm.
if you want to see our beautiful faces, you should definitely pop on over there. It's because we both took so much time to get ready this morning to like really make ourselves look so pretty for this.
Exactly.
Um, I'm kidding. We're giving very like quarantine Zoom meeting right now, but it just adds the
Honestly.
authenticity of us.
Oh, it's the like nice shirt and then sweats for me. So yeah, if you guys want, subscribe to us, follow us everywhere at Girlish Podcast. Go to our website, girlishpodcast.com, for all the links for everything. And thank you for watching. If you have any ideas for future episodes, any topics that you'd like us to discuss, please feel free to DM us, email us, wherever the hell. And yeah, hopefully, maybe one day we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So, with that being said, have a wonderful rest of your day, our beautiful super straight community, and hail J.K. Rowling as always.
Hella Rowlers. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.